Hello everyone, this video is in the Great Engine Attack series. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler, and this time we are going to have a look at a great attack in the Grand Prix Attack by ClassicAra-Tucano in the TCEC Swiss. This is a good example of a slow-moving attack, an attack in which it seems to take ages for the white pieces to arrive at the black kingside. However, black's kingside is so bereft of pawn and piece cover that even with these very slow-moving pieces of white, well, black still isn't in time to defend. This is the position. In fact, ClassicAra has just sacrificed a bishop on a2, but is attacking the queen on d8. Tucano decided to play f6, bishop h6, knight b4 in order to save the piece, and now white played the calm, quiet knight g3. Yeah, I mean, these knights, they're going very slowly towards the kingside. This knight is aiming for h5. And I also thought that, with black's second rank being open, that would just make it very easy for the black king to escape round to the queenside and get away from any attack. However, I think the big problem in black's position, which maybe isn't immediately obvious, is that black's control of the dark squares in the centre and on the kingside is completely missing. And this makes it very difficult for black's king to escape with any safety. And then if it's not going to be able to escape, well, the G and H files, black's got no pawn cover there and the H file is open. Yeah, there is likely to be danger there. And yeah, look at the black pieces, knights on a5 and b4. Yeah, very long way away from defending. But still, it seemed a little bit strange to me how easily white's attack went. I mean, white's threatening knight h5. One move I looked at was to play queen e8, just to stop knight h5, and to try and play queen g6 to cover the black king that way. But after knight h4, we've got some very simple threats here. We're actually threatening e5 very quickly, just really attacking that f6 square, trying to get rid of black's defense of the g5 square so that the queen can move there. And if you go something like knight ac6 to stop e5, we just take and we go rook f2, and we're going to go rook af1, and then we're going to threaten rook takes f6 and queen g5. And it's very, very difficult for black to do anything about that. What Tucano did was it played the slightly strange move a6. But the idea is to play rook to a7 and cover the second rank laterally. And, if the rook moves over to g7, that might possibly, make it possible to escape with the king. Who knows? But it's all a little bit too slow. Bishop g7, king g7, knight h5 check. Now, if you go to f7, then I'll go knight takes f6. Obviously, if you take with the queen, then I've got a knight check, and I take the queen there. So you can try and run away with something like king e7. But then I go queen g5, king d6, queen g7. Remember, you can't take with the queen because I've got e4 to e5 check. And yeah, I mean, my idea is simply to play d4, open up the d file, and your king just can't get away. So one lovely idea is to go knight c2 here, knight e3, d4, knight takes f1, e5 check, king c6, d5 check. And if he takes d5, we've got knight d4 checkmate. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, all these tactics, it's really, from about move 18, 19 onwards, the engines are at +4, so it's an absolutely winning advantage. But I wouldn't say these lines are always particularly intuitive. They require some thought. I think they're just a bit non-standard, and yeah, there's enough space everywhere, empty space everywhere, to give you a slightly uneasy feeling about, is something going to escape? But it all seems to hang together perfectly. After knight h5 check, yeah, if you go king h7, I go queen f2. And this was a nice little idea. Rook a7, queen g3, rook ff7, trying to use the rooks to defend. And now king f2, followed by rook h1, which is going to be rather painful. So king g6 was played in the game, and then we got this nice idea, knight h4 check. The knight cannot be taken, unfortunately, because after king h5 we played g4 check, and yeah, a few ideas. King h4, queen h2 check will end in mate. King takes g4, rook f4 check, and then we get you on the h file. And if you go king takes g4, there's various ideas, but queen h6 was the one I found, and I think that's mate in about 6 or something. So yeah, that black king isn't getting out of it. So knight h5 check, king g6, knight h4 check, black went back to h7, and then white just played very slowly again, rook f3. This rook's coming either to g3 or to h3. Queen d4 check, queen e5. The knight just retreats back there. Yeah, the rook can come to h3 or to g3. We've also got knight fg6 as a possible idea, forking queen and rook. So yeah, Tucano didn't play. I mean, you know, Stockfish is offering much more desperate and maybe yeah, well, clearly better ways of defending. This was not really going to help matters. f5, knight fg6. I mean, the funny thing is about this attack is that, you know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces in there, and still, you know, I'm like 3 or 4 moves away from mate, really. But of course, black isn't doing anything in the position, so yeah, it doesn't actually really matter. Rook f7 was played, e5, and yeah, actually there's a really lovely threat here. Here Tucano played queen a1, which in terms of desperate measures is pretty much the most desperate I've ever seen. Just rook takes a1, of course. But bishop b7 allows a nice tactic, actually. Knight takes f5, threatening queen h6 mate. Rook takes f5, rook h3 check. Get rid of all my knights. But then I take, and then this is just the one that's you just have to visualize. Queen d6 checkmate. The rook covers the 8th rank, and the queen delivers checkmate on d6. I mean, quite a nice little attack there, and yeah, I mean, just for me, I was just you know, watching it, I was just a bit surprised at, you know, how helpless black seemed to be with yeah, with you know, white's pieces moving so slowly. But I always remember Julian Hodgson, you know, he would have been just counting the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacking pieces. 1, 2 black defenders. White's going to win. And, you know, he was usually right on this. And when you consider that you also got e4 to e5 as an extra attacking unit as well, and that the rook on a1 can come in, you know, very easily behind the rook on f1 when the rook moves forwards, then yeah, I mean, all of white's pieces are involved. But still, you know, I thought it was one of those things that that didn't quite come naturally to me to understand, and yeah, it was good fun analysing it. So I hope you enjoyed that too. If you like the video, why not give me a like or subscribe to the channel, and also take a look at my new book, The Silicon Road to Chess Improvement. Lots of stuff like this in it. But otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and hopefully see you for the next video.